Welcome to LECOM Health Matters. Our guest today is Dr. Chris Buzas, a comprehensive ophthalmologist with LECOM. Chris, thank you for being with us. We
Thank you,
appreciate it
Monty.
very much.
Appreciate it.
April 8th, Erie is going to be swamped. I looked ahead at the forecast, and so far, it looks like it's going to be a mostly sunny day, which I think means we could have anywhere between 50,000, they're saying, and 200,000. I don't know what the number is going to be. From what I've been told, it's a very spectacular event. But also, from what I've been told, it's one we have to be very careful of in terms of our eyes. So, overall, why is it so dangerous for people to look at the sun without some type of protection?
So you're absolutely right. During the partial event, the partial eclipse, or really any time when someone's outside looking at the sun, any prolonged viewing of the sun can lead to a condition we call solar retinopathy, which is irreversible damage to the back of the eye.
If I can stop you right there, because I think there's a lot of confusion over this. The partial eclipse is dangerous. The total eclipse, you still should be wearing some type of protection, but if you think you're safe watching it for an hour and a half without any protection, you're really going to do damage to your eye before or after.
Unfortunately, that's right. So there really is only just over 3 minutes where during that totality event where the moon is completely encompassing the sun, where it is okay to take your glasses off for those couple minutes. But you're absolutely right. You can imagine the partial eclipse as any time you'd be outside looking at the sun. Staring at the sun for even more than just a few seconds can lead to irreversible damage to the eye.
And what type of damage would occur if one actually stared at the sun for almost an hour and 20 minutes before the actual eclipse?
Absolutely. So when those intense light rays enter the eye, they land on the back of the eye called the retina or the macula or the fovea. That's actually the center of our macula, which is the deepest and the most sensitive part of our retina, which is smack dab in the middle. The fovea is the area of our eye where our high definition vision comes from. So you can imagine all those light rays collecting on that one small area can lead to damage to those cells. And unfortunately, once those cells are damaged or once they're dead, there's no bringing them back. So what happened to the patient if they were to look at the sun for any prolonged period of time, they'd have a blind spot smack dab in the middle of their vision. And that could be, unfortunately, irreversible.
So really, this is a dangerous event, although it's an interesting scientific event and something that we probably will only see once or twice in our lifetimes. This is something one has to be very careful of.
Absolutely.
So if I wear sunglasses, am I okay?
Unfortunately not. Even the best sunglasses, the most expensive sunglasses out there aren't enough to protect your eyes.
Why is that? Because I've heard this argument left and right. Why is that?
So you hear about sunglasses, UVA protection, UVB protection. Yes, it's absolutely great for when you're sitting on the beach, and spending time outdoors in the summertime. Those are great to just keep your eyes comfortable for those events, but they're not made to stare at the sun. The only things that are safe and been proven to be safe for these kind of events are what we call NASA approved solar filters. They are kind of like sunglasses, the fact that they go over the eyes, but it's really that filter that blacks out the majority of the light coming in there. And only that small percentage of light allowed to pass through those filters is safe for the eye.
Now, every store that I go to, Chris, is selling them. How do I know that they're the right ones?
So you do have to be careful. The vast majority of the safe ones will say NASA approved. That's really what you're looking for. And also will say ISO. ISO is a specification of the filter itself, denying how much percentage of light is blocked out. So if it says NASA approved or ISO, you should be safe.
And if I put them on before the eclipse, what would happen? Would I see anything?
So like in your own home, if you look if you put your solar filters on and try to look at a light, you'd see a very small percentage of that light coming back at you. Or even if you were to step outside today or tomorrow and look at the sun with the solar filters, yes, you would see the sun, but the filter blocks out the harmful rays that are coming into the eye. So you can wear those anytime if you want to look at the sun, for that matter, not just the eclipse.
But you got to look for NASA approved to make sure that your eyes are protected.
Absolutely.
What would you say? A concern I think I would have with children are so difficult, as you well know, to corral. Who will probably put water glasses or something up to their eyes. What would you say about the little ones in this event? Because you could imagine all the kids going up, looking around, and it's hard to corral them sometimes. I would think the kids are at real danger of seeing this phenomenon and forgetting.
Absolutely. So the other reality is that a lot of the schools in the area are going to be closed that day. So it's on the parents' responsibilities to make sure that they're taking care of their kids for those days. of a certain age, I'd say like 5 or less, 6 or less. If you're all concerned about making sure that your kids wear those sunglasses, maybe they don't have them outside for those minutes when you're having it during the event. Once they're of a certain age, kindergarten and above, they should be okay to wear the glasses appropriately as long as you explain the risk to them. But really, the recommendation is for anyone that's preschool age or younger to maybe avoid the event completely, just to protect the kids' eyes.
Yeah, and I think we should make that point pretty clear that 1 to 5 or before they get into preschool is really not recommended for the real small ones because they could potentially do some real damage. They're going to have trouble wearing glasses in the first place. How about on the other end of the spectrum, those of us who are elderly?
so with the right solar filters, everyone is safe. But you're absolutely right. If there's any type of mental health disease or concerns about appropriate wear, then avoiding the event would absolutely be the safest thing.
Do you think it's safe to look at, if you have your glasses on and they're NASA approved and correct, do you think it's safe to look at this thing from beginning to end?
I do think as long as you're wearing them the entire time, I think anyone for that matter, to be staring at the sky for a number of hours could lead to other like musculoskeletal imbalances and neck problems and that kind of headaches just from the positioning. So I think it's unrealistic for most people that want to stare for that long. But if with the proper solar filters, again, be okay at least from an eye point.
Now, are you going to watch it?
Absolutely. So our office is closed that day. We'll be outside. I have some family coming from out of town that'll be here, but I bought plenty of solar filters for everyone that's going to be in my vicinity. I'm going to be passing out in the neighborhood too to make sure everyone's safe.
Well, I have family coming up, and I was told, I listened to a Pittsburgh radio station in the mornings getting ready to go to work, and they were saying, if you're coming to Erie on Monday, you better get here Sunday.
I agree.
I just don't know what's going to happen.
That's the reality. Yeah, I've heard upwards of 700,000 into Erie County. So
I've heard numbers anywhere from 50 to 700, as you just mentioned, and we just don't know. The long range forecast, we're sitting here talking today, it's March 27th. The long range forecast looks good, like it's supposed to be a fairly clear day with a few clouds. Although a friend of mine who's called the papal astronomer, Brother Guy Cosamagno, and he works out at MIT. And he's doing a bit of a piece for us earlier on. But he says that even if it's a bad day, what can happen is that the Earth temperature cools about 10 degrees. And that could potentially change the weather pattern, good to bad or bad to good.
That's interesting.
It may not necessarily happen, but he says you never really know because the Earth cools. And I guess he also said some interesting things about people who have dogs, that animals and dogs are really disturbed by this. So it must be quite the event to see.
Absolutely.
But one has to be very careful when they're watching it. What other tips would you give people in terms of those who want to go out and actually enjoy this?
I think the biggest thing to do during the event is plan appropriately. So, start the planning process now to make sure that your solar filters are NASA approved. Make sure you have an area that you're going to be safe during the event, making sure that everyone around you is properly equipped and safe, especially with children and elderly adults. And just make sure that you have a good plan for the whole day, not just those couple hours where it's going on or those couple minutes when the totality event is occurring, but the reality is to have the whole day planned out so you make sure that you have the best experience possible.
Okay. Chris, we want to thank you, Dr. Chris, for your time. Thank you for the wisdom of reminding people that this is indeed a unique event, but it's an event we should be prepared to learn from and enjoy.
Absolutely.
This is Monsignor Rubino for LECOM Health Matters.